Over community, I'm Lauren, and I'm going to be showing you how I create with a new feature in Over called Pages. Cool. Hey everyone, I'm Lauren. I am a product manager at Over, and today I'm going to show you, we just released a new feature that we call Pages, and I'm going to show you how I create an Over using our new feature. Because I'm a product manager, I use Over to design on the side and kind of keep that passion alive. My partner is a musician, and he has a band called The Plastics, and I sometimes use Over to create stuff for their new releases or Instagram, etc. So for this campaign, they were releasing a new album called The Bright Blue Orchids, and they kind of rebranded themselves. So I basically used Over to create a bit of an identity for them, and I'm going to show you how I created a few single covers for the songs, as well as a few of the social media kind of campaign that we did together. So just quickly show you what that looks like. So these were a few of the covers that I made in Over, and particularly going to show you how I use Pages and how Pages kind of makes this process a lot easier. And if you have any questions, please feel free to pop them in the Q&A bubble at the bottom. I'll get to the questions at the end and answer any questions that you have. So I'm just going to get into it. Cool, so I'm going to start with a square. Because I'm creating something for Instagram and I'm creating it for a single cover for a song, which is generally square. And generally with every project, I always start with a color palette. So for the brand identity, for the Bright Blue Orchids, I originally created a color palette. The vibe for the brand or the idea was a bit 60s, a bit 70s, kind of in that realm. So the palette is a little bit old school, and I use my palette library to kind of load and save palettes. So this is the Bright Blue Orchids one. And then for the visual itself, so it took me a while to generally find the kind of visual aesthetic I was looking for, but I find a lot of inspiration in the graphics library. So all of this is commercially free for commercial use, so you can feel safe to use it, and created by other artists for us to use as creators, which is pretty cool. So this pack is the Space Astrology pack, and the band kind of liked this vibe of like a tarot cards and a 60s vibe, so I thought this particular graphic was pretty cool. This graphic pack was pretty cool to use. This song is called Fiona, so I thought that this particular visual of a woman kind of married quite well with that. And then for the logo, I used a font, it's kind of like a 60s, 70s font from Over itself. So generally why I have a design background, I can use other platforms like Photoshop, but I feel like Over just has like all the fonts I ever need, and they always just updating them. So that's kind of why I just feel like I always just jump into using this tool. So I use Tropyline, and I just kind of play around, place things, move things around, adjust them. And this was like a super simple one, but I wanted it to have like a kind of a bold feel. So the next thing is I tap the icon at the top, so that's where Pages are now, and you can duplicate, add, delete pages in that view. And what's super great about it is now I can go and change the colors, replace the graphics, and I can kind of keep everything in one place. So the next song is called Melancholy Love Games. So I chose a graphic here, which is kind of like this swirl of, I guess like mess, a bit of a messy love, which I quite liked. And I also quite like choosing colors that kind of contrast each other for all of the album covers themselves. So before I had a bit of a light background with a dark graphic. Now I'm going to choose a dark background with a more lighter graphic. So I chose the black and a light yellow, and then changing the title. Fonts is definitely one of my favorite features in Over. I think that's pretty much the main reason I jump into it all the time. It's just such a library of inspiration. And then I wanted to kind of make space for the words, so I used the mask tool to erase some of the graphic in the background, so that the text could fit nicely and not be obstructed by the graphic. can see it's like super easy to go from one design, duplicate that page, change a few things, move a few elements around, change some colors, and you can kind of create like a consistent look if you're trying to create a campaign or some sort of story that you need to look all the same. So that's the second one. And then I created a third one, which is called Drunk on Love. So the first thing I did was, again, chose the right colors I wanted to use. So this time I wanted another lighter background again, so I chose this fleshy color and a darker graphic. And I was kind of getting over the Space Astrology one. I thought it was a bit much, so I looked around and played with other graphic packs. I generally always just look around to see like how many of them can work together. So this one had like a lot of different shapes. As you can see, it's quite a big one, but I found like this really cool triangular graphic that had a hole in it, and it kind of reminded me of like a love triangle of some kind, also a bit of a messy love, which was a theme throughout all of the songs for this particular album. Yeah, so I used that triangular graphic, and then I changed this to say Drunk on Love. Just moving things around, tweaking them. I don't know if anyone's noticed, but the bounding boxes are slightly different, so this is a new update we've actually just released today in iOS, a few days ago on Android. Yeah, and those basically are the three super simple covers, very striking, and it's so nice to be able to see them all in a row in pages like that. Now they all exist in this one project. So what's great about that is it can kind of all live, you can kind of organize your projects a bit better. You can save all the images out in one go, which is pretty useful. And then in some cases, for designs like this, you might need to print them. So you can save them as a PDF and save them all as one file. So I can save them to my iCloud drive. In this example, if we wanted to create posters, I could easily resize these, save them out as PDF, and have those printed, which is super easy. So now you'll see there's a little number at the top of the project tile that'll tell you how many pages there are in the project. And this is a look at the PDF I exported, which is now all in one, which is super useful for things like business cards or presentations. So this is a look at the actual Instagram feed. So you can see for this particular album release, we did like a bit of a campaign. And we did a few photographs interspersed, and then we did a lot of lyrics on top of colors or videos, all of this created in Over. So I'm going to show you quickly, just a quick one, a similar kind of way of how I created some of those lyric little designs in between the photos, and how super fast it would be, not only to just change the colors and the font colors and the fonts and the graphics, but also to create a mixed media types in one project. So I can also create video backgrounds. So this one, quickly showing you how I can change the colors. And then for the next one, another super inspiring piece of content library in Over is our exclusive video library. So these are specific to Over, no one else has these. And I kind of wanted to use the kind of like flower vibe, I guess, for the 60s. So luckily Over has a lot of flower ones here, and also they were called the bright blue orchids. So I chose like a bluish little video, and I also used the filters to kind of try and make the flowers look a bit bluer. Yeah, so all of those videos in Over are also all commercially free for commercial use and for anyone to use, which is super great. It makes creating super easy. Yeah, so I chose this one, which is kind of bright and blue. I needed the text to stand out a little bit, so I adjusted the saturation and the brightness to kind of make sure the text is showing. And that's just a super cool way of creating a piece of content that's slightly more exciting. It's got a video in it, and all those three can live in one project. And I can also save them out all in one go, making it super fast. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your feedback. Yeah, and if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. If you have any feature requests, please leave your ideas inside from the app itself. Super easy. I hope that you guys are excited to use pages, and I hope that you create some